as part of. Sorry. So there are a few things that I want to discuss as part of Maven also. Okay, so here you can see that if you want to set something as like a dynamic, okay, so let us say it like if you want to create them as like a variable. Okay, so some versions here you can see compiler version, compiler target, compiler test plugin versions. Okay, so likewise, if you want to give any set of things as a kind of variables, then we have to declare them under the properties. Okay, so here you can see it's going to read these properties first, and then after it will go and try to place them as part of like variables here. Okay, so when you see this log4j2 dot versions, here you can see this is what I have used the variable. Okay, so what is that? How do we define the variable? Is like we have to define it in the like in the flower brackets with the dollar sign. Okay, dollar flower brackets. So it's going to represent it as like a variable. Okay, so this is variable, and directly if you want to give the version, you can give the version. So all these things you can manage it here under the properties. In properties tag, when you give this properties tag, then it's going to read them as like a variables. Okay. So today we'll be discussing about like extend reports. Okay, what is extend report? Extend report is like something that is going to read the details or information about like whether the test is failing, passing, or if you want to pass some set of information as a part of the report, then it's going to just project that report and we can just view the details of it. Okay, so we'll see that what exactly extend report and what are the content that we have. Okay, so let me just go to the official side of it. So extend reports, it's supported by the extend reports. I'm just clicking on this. Okay, so here you can see it's going to, this is nothing but official page of extend. So let me click on this. We'll go to the different versions. Okay, here you can see there are like different versions of Java, Selenium, Java language, .NET, and Clove. Okay, so we are going to go with the Java. Okay, now you can see everything is like clearly given. Okay, so here you can see all the how do we configure it and what is the usage of it and what are the different things that we can add as part of like extend report is given here. Okay. It's kind of like a report which would produce interactive reports. Like we can just go and see that what is the output of that particular execution, and it has a dashboard and it gives the details about the system and graphical view. I mean, like it will show you like what is the percent of test and test completed and what is that exactly that we are looking to like during the execution. What is that we are trying to achieve? So everything will be there in this report. So capturing screenshot, we can capture the failed screenshot also. If any case is failing, then we can capture the screenshot. Okay, we'll see everything in detail. And you can see what are the dependencies that we need to add. So this is the dependency that we need to add. Okay, so here you can see first we have to go with the dependencies. We need to add the dependencies in Maven. Then we can get all the details, like all the kind of supporting jar files for that particular extend report. Okay, so we'll first add these dependencies, and after that we are going to create the extend report. Okay, see, this is what the code that we have here. Sorry guys, so here you can see we have first going to create extend reports. This is nothing but the object. This is a class and this object that we are going to create, and what type of report that we want to add. Okay, so here we can add it. So we have like different types of reports here: Avant report, Spark report, and BDD reporting. So these are the different set of reporting that we have. Okay, so generally what is a extend report is like? So we have, for example, extend report is kind of like a template. Okay, so this is the, let us say this is a document, and if you want to write inside this document, so if you want to write inside this document, so we can write in a different style. Okay, so this is the first part is like this is extend report. This is extend report. And this is nothing but we can use any one of them. Okay, so as discussed, like Spark reporter is there, and we have like Avant report is there. Okay, these are like different styles of templates. Okay? So different styles that we can create. Here it is like template. So report configuration would be like, what kind of, like what is the operating system, what is the username, author name. So all these things, like what is the theme that you can apply on this particular report. These all things can be configured at extend report. And here it's like, what is the content that you want to display, which test you want to display, everything can be configured inside this. Okay. So inside the report. So extend report is kind of a template and this is kind of a content. Okay. So reports are kind of like a content that you want to project. So for this, we have different set of reports here. So extend, see here it says like, when you look into the extend reports, so the information here it is given like you can see. So it's kind of like an extend framework, wherein like we are going to use that framework. Within that framework, we are going to add this reports. So these are the different styles of reports. Okay, extends allow creation of test notes, events, and assignments of tags, devices, authors, environment, values, etc. That we can configure as part of like reporters. So within that, we have this set of reports. Okay, so what kind of template that, see, how do you exactly project your data is the purpose of this particular reports. Extend reporter is like, how do you exactly, there's a template and how do you want to configure that template? Okay, there are two different things. So once you can see, first we are creating object for this extend reporter, and after that we are attaching the report. Okay, what type of report? Okay, what type of report that you want to put as part of like template. Okay, so here first we'll create the object, and after that we are going to add this whatever report that we want to create, we are going to add it. So here we are going to give the path of that report. Where do you want to store that report? Okay, so and you can attach that report. And flushing is like, after writing everything, we want to just flush that one. Flush in the sense it can creation is done, right? So after that, if something is left in that pipeline or something like streams, that it's going to flush. So creating test, how do we create test now? So we have created the template and we have created the report and we added that report to the template. Okay, and after that we have to create the test. Okay, so you have like get the test, in that we whatever that you are doing, it should be recorded as part of report. So in that case, we have to create one other object for the extend test. Okay, so this is a class which is going to create a test for under the report. Okay, it will provide all the details like what is passing, failing, so everything that we can do. Okay, so nodes, this is not required for us now, so we are not going to create any nodes under that test. If you have anything, we can create the nodes, but we don't have that nodes. We directly create everything as part of like a test. Okay, so see what are the different logs that we can put here is like, we can put fatal, fail, error, warning, skip, pass, info, and debug. So we already looked into log4j2, right? So log4j2, it will support all this, whatever we have logs which are defined as part of log4j. There is a different there could be some similar things, but this is reported in reporting. Okay, that's nothing but extend reporter. But the log4j will be reporting those things in a different file as well as like console. Okay, so now you see test.log status pass and pass. You can put like this, or you can put directly these things. Okay, both the things will work as like this will be calling this method. Okay, so work as similar. So exceptions, if you have any exceptions, you can log the exceptions like test fail, or you can add the other way also. We are going to see what is that. Okay, so see assigning authors. If you want to assign the authors design, whatever you want, you can just add it. Okay, and here it is like capturing the screenshot. We have a method called add screen capture from path. Okay, so this is the method that we are going to use for capturing this. If you want to add some media model provided, so it's kind of like media model hyperlinks or something that you want to create, you can still go and create them. Okay, so as a details, so when you click on it, it's going to open the page. Okay, so here we have like base64 capturing the screenshot, and this is like the normal screenshot that this is like base64 and normal screenshots also we can add it. Okay, so HTML format, here also it supports HTML format, HTML and usage. So how do you want to put that information? So log information. So everything is like clearly given. So we are not going to look anything outside of this particular site, whatever they have provided. So this is like detailed things which are there, and it's all based upon like how do we exactly use it. Okay, so so we'll try to use these things. Okay, so whatever we are looking at it here, we are going to try to use it. So you can see markup dot create label text and what is that you want to provide. In case if something is failing, you can provide this markup dot create label and set that you can put it as like a extend color dot red. Okay. So table of content, that if you want to put the table of content in that report, you can put it. Okay. There are a lot of things, but we'll see whichever is required for us. Okay. So we'll first, what we need to do, we need to go and add the dependency. Okay. So you can see step by step, we'll see. Before that, I'm going to create a simple extend class here. Let me just add package for extend. Okay. So that we'll go and try to create extend report class. What is that first thing that we need to do is like we need to add the dependencies. Okay. So we need to add the dependencies. Where do we need to add the dependencies? Open this and you can just go and try to get the extend Maven dependency. Okay. Extend report Maven dependency. We have that here. We can copy it, but the version I'm checking, which is the latest version. See, this is the 5.0.9. Okay, I'm copying it. You can see .com, com dot event stack. Here also we have like com dot event stack. Everything is similar, only the version. Okay, so you can copy this and you can paste it in the dependencies. Where do we need to paste these things? Here under the dependencies, inside the dependency stack. Okay, so I'm just putting it at the end. Now it is like adding. Okay, so once you add this, we are going to create. We are going to create object for the extend report. Okay, so what is that we want to have this like first is like extend report. Extend report. Extend reports. Okay, so it's a class that we have to get. Okay, now we have created extend report, and here I'm going to put it as like extend report. And after that, what I want to do is like I want to create extend. We can create extend like what are the different reporters here using Spark reporter. Yes, Spark reporter, and we have like we have event report. We can create the event report also. We don't have event here. We'll try to see what are the different reports that we have. Okay, reporters. I can say I can take this Spark reporter, but here we have the options of taking different reports also. Okay, event reporter. We have event reporter, we'll use the event reporter. So we'll try to see that. Okay. We don't have event reporter, it's showing Spark reporter. Okay, we'll take Spark reporter. Now we'll try to create the reporters. Okay, so here I'm going to take it as like reporters. Okay. Here we have to take it as like static, right? Because we are using main method. We have to take it as like a static. So after that, we are going to configure it in TestNG XML. I'll show you in TestNG format. Okay, so in calling it from TestNG, and we'll see that how the report will be recorded. Okay, so now I'm going to just create reports is equals to new extend. See, I'm creating object for the extend reports. After that, what I'm going to do is like I'll configure. Okay, so reports dot. Now you can see whatever you want to configure, you can configure. Okay, so set system information. So what is that you want to have, like, you know, what is the machine name that you want to provide? Machine name is like you can, it is like it is used for test and prod. Okay, so testing and prod reports dot set system info, which is that we are using. What is that OS that we are using? So here we are going to put it as like Windows 11 reports dot set The username that you want to provide user. Okay, for now I'll just put these things, and after that, so we have created the report. Now we have to create. Now we have to configure the report. Okay, this is nothing but a template. So we have configured only a template. Now we have to configure the report and add this report to the template. So how do we do it now? That here we have, like, we can directly take the configuration. So that is also quite possible. But here I'm going to use some different thing here. So here, add. We have like report dot. We can use. It is showing that we can configure this. And another thing is like we have a default information also for this. We can configure it. Okay. So here you can see we can give the configuration. Configuration manually that we can give, or you can load it from the XML file or JSON file, or directly we can add it as a configuration. Okay, you can see this JSON file, JSON string, and XML file string. Okay? So here also we have like default configurations which is available. So you can take it. Okay. So Spark reporter default config XML. It should show me the samples here. Say XML configuration. Okay, so you can copy it and you can see what is that here we have is like just we need to put this here under this resources. Go here and you can just put under the utils, or you can just create a XML file. Okay, so we'll try to go with the XML file because it will give some basic idea about how does this exactly report looks. Okay, so extend config. Now you see, we have like what is that standard theme that you want to apply. This is like standard theme that we are applying here. So we can put it as like dark. Okay, we'll go with the standard things first and then we'll see that. Okay. So what is that data that you want to write is like UTF-8 and protocols extend report. What is that framework that you want to show? It is like automation framework name. Okay, automation testing and build one. So it is optional. And it is like whatever you configure here, it's going to read it. Okay. So we need to give the path of this. So what do we give the path here? We'll take source name Java. We'll go here. We'll try to put this. Dot load. What is that XML file that we want to load? Okay. So file location that we are going to. Okay. So going to post my exception. Now we have prepared this Spark report, right? So reporter. Now we are going to add that report. Report.add attach reporter, and this is like Spark reporter that we are. Okay, so now other thing is like we have this reports, and where do you want to generate this report is like we have to give it here. Okay, so for this we have to create an object. So we did not create object here, right? So I'm going to create object. Object is equal to new Spark extend new extend reporter, and here we have to give the arguments. Okay, file location that we have given. Okay, here I'm going to create a simple folder called reports. Under that report, I want to add this. So here I can give dot reports. Under this, I want to add report as like report dot HTML. Okay, so I want to get it as like HTML. Now let's go and try to run it and see if it generates reports or not. Okay, so program has been completed. Let's go and try to refresh this. Basic report it should be taken. Let me just check it again. Refresh. Okay. So maybe here we have to add system dot get property. So take the configuration. It's like it's not taking up that configuration. XML config file. This is the config file that we have. Here, let me just go and refresh this. Here also, it is not accepting. Let me just give it as like. Spark report, everything is fine. Let me check whether this configuration, like whether this file name is exactly right or not. Okay, so I'll try to. What this Ashok sample? Yes. So it is fine. It is located under this. So let me just go and try to check this one. Ashok yes, XML file that we have given properly. Extend.xml. And what is that we have to do here? It is saying like you can see load. Okay. So HTML reporter dot load XML config and we are giving the config file. Okay. So everything is like we have copied from here. And what is that? Possible way. This is like another way of adding that. That's something, but we are going to do it after this. Okay. So what is that theme and all? So we can just add it there. But here I'm trying to do it from the XML file. Okay. So config.xml and see HTML reporter support host static configuration via XML and Java. So attach report and new extend report. And here I'm going to give the path of it. So we have created this. And Spark reporter, and we are giving the path of it. So where do you want to store this? Let me check this one also. So if it is not there, it's going to see what is that format that it is showing is like here you can see. Okay, so let's by default let it pick up the default thing. Okay. I just this one. But we have to give the name. Let's see if it generates something. Just I want to show you some sample. It's like how does this report looks. Okay. So we have added this and we are trying to attach this. Sorry guys, there's a power disconnect actually. Sorry, are you able to see my screen? Yes, no. Hello? I think guys, are you in mute or are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear me? So there is
Yes,
a
sir.
power disconnect. I'm sorry for that. Yeah.
No problem, sir.
Okay. So I'm just checking on this. So it's like a basic thing that I want to generate. Maybe like load config file. So I'm trying to load this configuration file, not XML. So which is put in under this particular folder. Let's see the title. We have built it and configuration standard and true build one document already function. Okay, did I forget anything or did I need to flush it or something? And just looking at this. Okay, so I'm just putting this flush now. Now we got it. Okay. So it is saying that index. I forgot to flush this. Okay. So that's the reason why it was changed. Let's see that what is the default report that we are going to get. So it is showing some index and it's picking up here. I can see we have just created a sample report and we don't have any tests so far created, but you can see that started date, end date, test pass phase, and we have like information, machine information, okay, OS and who is the author, and we have build information, okay. So all these things are given in this way, okay. So but we don't have any test created, okay. So that's the reason, like I forgot to flush that. So once we create that report, after reading everything, we have to flush it out. You can see automation testing. It is showing this default report. Okay. So I'll name it as like some report. So slash, I'm going to name it as like test. Okay. So now this is fine. Now what I want to do is like we want to create some test. So for this, what I have to do, I have to take this static extend test. Okay. So test, I'm going to just give it as like a test name. You need to import the package event stack, and now you see here I'm going to create test dot create test. So first what we need to do, what's what, so here we have created this, okay. So you can add it as like test dot sorry, test is equals to new extent. I did not create object for this, right? So we have to create object for this extent. And create object, otherwise we can take it as like test is equals to importer no test create new test. Okay, so here we will give test one. So test dot info. This is sample test. Okay, so after that test dot pass, I'm going to give like past. So what I did is like just I've created. So I'm just creating a test now. Okay, So for creating test, what we have to do, test is equals to reports dot create test. Okay. So this is first test, and likewise I'm going to create test dot. If I say fail, I can add fail here. Fail. Test dot. Here we have created this test dot. I just want to add few more lot. Here we can see there are three test not we have three nodes that not node, but we can say that it has like a content that we have created. Okay. This is test sample one. This is test sample two. But I'm just creating this passed and failed. Okay. So now we have created the test. Under this test, we have this information should be recorded, and this is another test that we have created another test and we have recorded the other statement. And then after I'm just flushing this report. Okay. So let me just go and run it. For explain test, we have to just create like reporters dot create test. So it's going to create a test for us. Okay, now I'm going to refresh this. It is done. So we have got another report here. So instead of opening it again and again, I'm going to use the default browser for this. So I'm going to use Chrome as like a default browser. Now you can see test is like test one. This is sample test passed and failed. And here we have like test two. It is showing like this is sample test passed and failed. Okay. Test one and test two. Let us create the test. Here you can see there are two fail cases and how many tests passed, how many fail, and what is the other information that we got. Okay. So here you can see it is like clearly showing up everything. Okay. Now you see information and it is like passing and failing. So based on this, it will be just generating this report. Okay. So let me just put it down here. Now you can see it has created this test. We have test information, test one and test two. We have created the test one and test two, right? So go to this code here. You can say test created and test created. And information about this test is also there. Okay. So, and after this, if you want to capture some failed test cases, okay. So you can have like normal, just add capture path. So if you want to add this as a report, for example, if you have some image, okay. So let me add an image here. For example, I'm just adding a field screen. Here I'm going to okay. So okay. We have failed screen, right? So here I'm going to take it. Okay. So here we have like .png failed screen. So this screen I'm going to add it. Copy this. Go here and paste it. Okay. See here we have this project information. I'm just going to add this. And what is that screen that we have to add is like we have to give the name of it. Just go here and try to refresh and you'll get a new failed screenshot. This is the screen that you want to add, right? So copy it and paste it here. Okay. Now what is that we have done is like just created the object for the reports. And after that, we have created objects with Spark report. Then after we have configured the report, and then after we configure the Spark report in the XML file. Okay. So text extend-config.xml file. And we are attaching that report to the Spark report to the reports. After that, we have created the test, and these tests are recorded as part of like report. Okay. So now it is like this test, we are going to just add that add that particular failed test case to the report. Okay. We go and try to refresh this and see. We have this. So let me just do one thing and make it as like a default opening. We'll make Chrome browser as like default. Okay, it is showing up like a broken image. Okay, so there is something issue with that. So we'll see that how do we exactly add that with the help of like a basic report. So now we can see that we have just trying to. This is the image. It will add it. Whichever test case like paper filling is going to show. Okay, so for this we have to configure using the annotations. Okay, so test annotations. So this is the basic report that we have created. But how do we add the test based on the like the execution? So we have like a lot of test cases that we have written, right? So that how do we exactly implement this test engine? Okay. Now we saw that it is working now. So what I'm going to do is like I will remove the name of this test as like I'm going to return it as an extent. You see, I'm going to report. I'm going to return it as like extent reports. So exception. So here, these things I'm going to remove. I'm not going to flush it now. This is kind of like a one-time configuration. We need not to do it every time. We have to just do it for the one-time configuration. So something it is missing. Extend report. I'm sorry. Get report. So I'm just giving this function name as like get report config. Okay. So it's going to return me this reports. Okay. So now it is that we have just configured it. I'll remove unnecessary then. This is only for debugging purpose. I'll just put it here. Now you see we have configured it and finally we are going to send this report. Okay. So this is nothing but we have just configured it. Now we'll remove these things. So for the next test case, we'll see what is that it's going to generate. Okay. So first is like we have configured the report, Spark report. After that, we have added that report and we verified that report is generating. Like it is generating some details like this. Okay. The sample report that has been generated. Now, what we do is like we are going to create the test. Okay. So here, this configuration, this is working fine, right? So now I'm going to move these things to the resource folder. Okay. So because everything is like configurations that I want to do it under the resource folder. Now here I'm going to create, till now we did not create anything here, right? So we are going to create a base class wherein everything will be configured there. Okay. So here I'm going to take it as like a base class. We saw that how do we exactly generate the extent report. Now we are going to see how do we configure that. Okay. So before suite, public void suite config. Okay. I'll say suite config. Inside this, I want to call this. So what is that exactly we want to call it as like extent reports dot reporter dot get report config. Okay, when I say this, the configuration would be like first the reports would be configured. Okay, so it says like add dependencies. Okay, so before suite, you can see that I'm trying to add it here under this before suite, but it's not coming because the reason is like go to the pom.xml. You can see testng org is set to test. Okay, the scope of this is like only use this one at the time of test, but we want to use it during the like if you want to all these annotations in different packages or different folders. In that in that case, what we need to do is like we have to change the scope of it. Okay, we have to change it to compile. When you say compile, now you see that you can able to see the import packages. Okay, see. Earlier it was not showing up, right? So now it is showing up. Now it is kind of like it's going to help you to get this configurations. Okay, so we got this as part of the configuration. That first we are going to take it as like a configuration. So what is it going to return? It's going to return me this report, right? So I'm going to take this one. Reporter, because we have to use it. Okay. The reports is equals to. So we will be getting this report. First before suite is like, first thing is like before starting the suite, I'm going to use this. See, after this, I'm going to use before test. So in this before test, what is that I want to use it like? I want to use this extend test. Test is equals to, what is that? Reports dot. Here we are going to create the test. Okay. So here I'll write it as like test. So here I want to get the name of the test. Okay. So in this case, what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to use I context. Okay. I context is like, it will get you the name of that particular test. Okay. So here I'm giving it as a context. So now you can see, I'm going to get the name of the test, whatever test that you want to create. Okay. Get the name. So for every test, I want to create this report. Okay. So I'm giving this one. Now after this, what I'm going to do is like, I want to use before method. Before method, in this before method, I want to configure the things like, what is the result of that method. Okay. So before method. Now it's kind of like we are creating a framework. Okay. We are creating a framework now. So you can, if you want to have that log reported, you can create the log report here also. Okay. But before method, I want to configure the, I want to just get the details of that particular browser, which browser we want to use. Okay. In that case, what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to create a method called private and private static web driver. In this, I want to use get browser. Okay. So get browser. And in this, we are going to return the browser. Okay. So this static web driver, I'm going to use it. So this driver I want to use. Okay. So web driver. So you have to import the package, and after this, you'll be returning the driver. So here, this I want to get it from where I want to get it. I want to get it from the XML file. Get string browser. Okay. So here I'm going to put it as like, if browser dot equals ignores, I want to use, because equals ignores I want to use, because it may be in a capital letters or small letters, that I will check it, and after that I'll be invoking this. So here again, what is that we want to use is like, we want to use the web driver manager. So just this web driver manager would help you to get the drivers configuration automatic, like whatever, we need not worry about like what is the version of this particular browser and all. Okay. So D is equals to new. If it is like Chrome browser, it is like browser name is Chrome browser, then it has to do this. Then after that, what we do is .window .maximize. Now it is that we are implementing the extend report on the test engine. Okay. So to support for complete thing. Okay. So here I'm going to add is like d dot manage dot timeout, and page load also I'm going to take. Okay. Page load with duration. I'll give some time to load the page. Three seconds I'm going to give. After this, what is that I want to return is like, I want to return return the driver. Okay. So likewise, you have to do it for 3 browsers. Okay. So because we are using 3 browsers, right, to test, so we are using here Firefox. Firefox driver. Here it is like Firefox. Okay. Else finally, if something is not written, then we are going to throw new exception. It's like throw new exception. Let's throw new exception. No browser. Found. So you can here you can throw it, or else you can just return saying that no browser. Okay. So finally you can say here and just write a statement here. Like I will put it like this and throw. I'm going to do that like no. Yeah, it's fine. So in this before method, we are going to call this. Okay, get browser. So here I'm going to use get browser, and browser name is like I want to give. So I want to supply this browser name from the parameters. Okay, so I'm going to add the parameters here. So you can see annotations and parameters is like we are going to supply the parameters. So in this, I'm going to use the browser. Okay, so here I should get it as like a string. We have to pass it as like parameter, right? So I'm passing it as like a parameter. And runtime I want to decide. So we got the browser. So another thing is like we want to have the information about like particular method. Okay, what is the status of that method and all. So for this, I'm going to use method. So this is a reflector. Okay, so reflection. This comes under as part of like a reflect. Okay, so language.reflect. What they do is like this method provides information about the test access. So whatever test that you are trying to access. Okay, so in a single method interfaces, the reflected method be a class method or an instance name. Instance method. If you want to get the name of that particular method, for example, if you are executing some method, okay, here we are not creating any method. The test is not there, but you want to get the method name. In that case, we can use this method name. Okay, method and method name. So, and other thing is like I want to get the result of it. Okay, what is happening during the execution? In that case, we are going to use test result. Okay, so based on these results that we are going to record the information, like on which method, what is the method name, and what is the result of it. Okay, so here I'm going to use a condition. If result is success is equal to I test results or success. If this is success, I'm going to just here what I'm going to do is like okay. In this way. Otherwise, we can use in this fashion also. Result dot is success. Okay, it's going to return you Boolean. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is like I'm going to log the information. Where I'm going to log this information? Test dot. So we have already created this test, right? So first is like we have created that here we have taken the create test and we want to log the information test dot. So if it is passed, then I'm going to say that test dot log info. In this log, we are going to give status dot pass. Test passed. Okay, so here the other thing is like we have to add two more cases, right? One is like pass we have added. Now we are going to fail it. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to use this itest results dot failure. So what it does is like it's going to compare it actually. Okay, so here we can use result. We can do one thing. It's like if result dot if it is failure, then we can use this. Okay, I'm just showing you another way. Okay, I'm just comparing this. Okay, if it is failure, then we can do this. If it is like success, you can see we can give like this also. Otherwise, you can change it. Okay, get the status and you can change it like this. Now it's like we are first one is like if it is success, then it's going here. If it is failed, then it's going to say that it is failed, and we can get that particular like whatever we have like like why this is failure that we can return it. So from where we are going to return is like in this case you can say result dot get throwable. Okay, when you say throwable, it is reporting like why it is failing, what is the reason for failing, it's going to show up here. Okay, so here in this test we want to report like what is the name of that method that we can put it here. Okay, so method dot get name plus and it's going to add the information result dot why it is failing. Just give some gap here and it's going to show it. So here also I'm going to show the test passed. So the code is getting lengthier. Now you can see that we are trying to add these things. Okay, so here also we are skip. Just skipped. So that let me just take this one as well. Okay, so before test it will come and try to create the test. Our before method is like it will open the browser and it will do the actions. After that it will get whatever the information that we have, like if it is pass test is failing, it will show failed. If it is failed, pass, it is show that pass. If it's failed, it's going to fail it and it's going to show the throwable information, and it's like skipped, it's going to throw the skipped information. Okay, so now we have configured with this, and so for every method that I want to open and close the browser. In that case, what I have to do is like I have to use after method. In this after method, I'm going to use public void here down. So here in this case, I want to quit it. And finally, we have like after method that we are tearing down. Okay. So after test, what we are trying to do is like we want to close the test. So here I'm going to put it as like test dot. Dot. Here we have okay. We have written this form. So finally, we can directly close that. Okay. Reports dot flush. So here we have base test that we have created. Now we are going to create we can go here. So here I'm going to test it. That's the login test. Okay, we'll go and try to create test for the login test. Now here we are going to use the annotations, test annotations. Okay, click provide login. Okay, so extends. What is that we have to extend is we are going to extend the base class. From where this base class is coming? This is coming from this particular class. Okay. So see, when I say D, it is from where it is coming? It is coming from the base class. You can see it will show you it is coming from base class. Okay, I'll just show you how do we exactly get it. Okay. So D dot after this, what we want to get is we want to get the URL. Okay. So you can just have this URL coming from the properties class also. Okay. So how do we get this URL now? You see, we have our properties class also there. Here, how do we get it now? Get the string URL equals to property header dot get value, and you can give the URL. So I'm not sure what is that URL, but I want to get it then. So URL. Okay, so about the URL. After that, E dot find elements y dot xpath, and xpath is we are going to add the input. Let name is equals to user. But send values that I want to send this username and password. Is equals to property reader dot get value. What is that value that we have is username. I want to get the password also, right? Otherwise, you can get these things from the data provider. So we have data provider also, right? So you can use the data provider. So instead of iterating it multiple times, I'm just taking the data provider. Here, data provider is equals to what is the data provider we have in this class? So you can go and check. Did we create any data provider here? No, right? So what we can do is we can just create it under configuration itself. Okay. So here we have a resources, right? In this resources, I want to just have this package created saying that data providers. So under this data provider, I'm going to create a class data providers. So to save our time already we have created data providers, right? So you go here, we'll try to copy one of this. We have already, so this will open in this Excel file. So let me go here. First, we'll go and copy the details of this data provider. Okay, we have some data providers here. I'm going to take this data. So I'm going to name it as log. I'll add one more. two sets of data that we are getting. Okay, so two sets of data that we are getting. I'm coming here. I'm going to give it as like login. Go here. Here we are getting data from the data provider, right? So what is the data? So we'll go to this data provider and admin, username and password. Username and password that we are getting. Okay, here we have to give two things. One is like username, another is like password. So here we want to record the log. Okay, so for this test dot, I'll say that now you see test dot log status dot info. What is that you are going to provide is like info you are going to. Okay. So here we are going to say that URL entered. Okay. So, and here in base class also, we want to see that what is the browser that we have opened. Okay. So here in this case, get browser. After get browser, what we are trying to do is like we want to project that information. Okay. So test.log, or else you can say that just see what is that information that you want to put. Test.info browser launched. Okay, so test.info and go here and you can see that now it is like test is available. Before test we have started, right? If anything that we want to provide before test, like before starting the test, we can just we are configuring this test so that we can record the information of everything. Okay, so now browser log. If this test case is failed, it will say that log failed, like everything will be logged in. Okay, so here this is fine. Now I'm going back. Here I'm going to add one more thing, like whatever information that we want to project it here. Okay, so here we are logging and here I'm saying that pass, test pass. So what is that username? Username entered. So I'm going to enter just like username. Okay, so everything is working as expected now. So only thing is like, I'm like, we'll go and execute it. I'm just I have configured everything. Now what we have to do, we have to create a XML file. Okay, so we have configured base class and we have configured the class extend report and we are configuring now we are going to configure the XML. Okay, so this is the XML file, right? So I want to change it now. Which class you want to execute now? You want to execute this class, login text class. Okay, I'm going to take this one. So where is that class located? This is the class where it is located. Now what is that? We have to supply the parameter. We have to supply the parameter as like parameter browser and the value that we are going to send it is like Chrome. Okay, so this will call. I'll close everything, guys. I'll try to show you again. So now I'm going to open the test.ng file. This test.ng file will call the login class. Login class will get the properties from this and it's going to enter the property. And data provider, what it does is it's going to give the username and password here. Okay. So and after that, it will just go to this particular. And from where it is coming from this particular class, base class. Okay. So it will start the execution. It will configure this report and it will take the test and it's going to execute the test and it record the information. Then after method, it's going to close. And after this particular set of things, it's going to flush this test and it's going to generate the report. And it's here, this method will help you to get the browser, which browser you want to set. So this browser is like getting from where, when we are calling this get browser is taking the parameters from the XML file. Okay. So now this XML file is configured in pom.xml. So we can go ahead and try to execute this from the pom.xml and we'll see what is the execution. Okay. So in login test, you see that for this particular test, it's going to just enter username and password and it will close the browser. Okay. It will happen for 2 times because we have 2 sets of data in data. So this is nothing but the hybrid framework, guys. Okay. So there is one failure. Why it is failing? We'll see that. Okay. Because non-existing resources repository. I'll just try to configure it. Success. Non-existing repository, it says project source main resources. I think this is not required. Okay. Or plugins are not required. So just I'm removing this. Plugins which are not required. Okay, now I'll try to go and run it again. It's showing that something like source file which is missing. So that is the reason why I'm just trying to remove that one. Okay, so this is what it is not required. So we have this many folders. Right click and run as. I will try to run as Memo test. There is some issue. Okay, let me clean up and it's like only the issue with the Maven guys. So I'm just trying to update it. I'll show you. With the let's go ahead with TestNG XML. Okay, so it's like again it is creating. So, but this is not required. So we need to remove this one. We don't have anything under this. To remove from the build path. Let's go ahead and try to first see that how this report will be generated. Okay, so for this I'm going to run with the TestNG XML. First, at least like our code should pass, right? So that's what I'm just trying to test it. So why this is failing login? Yes, we have browser and suite. Login test. So this we have a base class. Try to see what is that. We have some. Okay, nothing to. Okay, let me let me run it from here. Something, but we are missing, but we can fix it. We fail. Log in. It goes here. You can see we have created this base class. This is fine. We have test class. And then we have resources. That is also fine. Okay, let me execute from here at least. We'll see that why is it failing. Otherwise, we can just look into the issues. Now it is showing it why this is failing. Oh, okay. I got it like from data provider class that we did not specify it, right? So that is the reason why it was throwing this data provider. That is the reason. It's not finding the data provider class. So it's like it is throwing the error. So what is that? We have like data provider. So this is a data provider class. I need to give the data provider. Okay. So because we are reading it from the different class, right? So data provider. Class and here data provider. Data provider. Okay, there could be like some issues that we need to first understand, like why this is like it is showing here, it is showing. So it says like no find data provider is not given. So that is the reason why it is like not picking up this. So let me just try it from here, TestNG XML, then we'll try to. Okay, so I think it should work now because we don't have any issues to for the execution. Now it is executing. So there was an issue with the data provider. Okay. Okay, now it is opening the Chrome browser. We'll enter username and password. We'll get the report, guys. Now we'll get to see the end-to-end execution. So this is nothing but hybrid design. Okay, still we have a lot of things like we can add the logs and we can. And there is some exception, like it's page loading or something. Because we did not give, we have given the page load timeout, right? 30 seconds. Maybe it has been like faster, just it has entered and it has closed. Otherwise, there are some errors that it is reporting. So maybe that input username. So it is like it is showing no such element exception. Okay. So for this, what we can do is like we can try to wait for that particular element to get loaded. Okay. So in that case, I'll go here and I'll try to add one small thing that is nothing but a dot manage dot timeouts implicit wait, and here I'm going to just wait for that element for number of seconds. Okay, 30 seconds until that element is loaded. Now you can go and try to run it. Yeah, see, now we have configured the base class. From that base class, we are trying to get the extent reports. And extent report will be reporting all the information. It's taking some time for the loading actually. Okay. Run two tests run, it is showing 0 failures. Okay. So it has entered, but it's not shown up, right? So we'll see that one. First, we'll go and try to check the report. Okay. Right click and refresh. Can get there's a test report HTML. Okay. So earlier we have deleted those test reports. Now you see. So we are going to see. Browser launched, entered, admin entered, and see admin 123 entered. So browser launched, this one entered, and it's showing like admin entered and admin 123 entered. Okay, so two things are recorded under the same test. So if you want to record them under the different test, what you have to do is like go here, and because we want to get the different test, right? So here for every test, it's going to record only one set of data. Okay, because we have given like test level that we are trying to. Now you see, we'll get test 1 and test 2. But here, what can we do is like go to this login, and after entering, I want to wait for some seconds, okay, so that we can see the execution clearly. It's faster, guys. Okay, that's the reason why we are not able to see this one. Sleep for 3 seconds. Wait for 3 seconds. Now you see that we have data provider, properties file, we have test extent reports we have added, and now we are trying to execute it from test.ng XML, and we have tried executing from the pom.xml also. Okay, we'll go and see the execution again.
Dear friends.
See admin, and you can see it will wait for 3 seconds. It will enter password. It will close now. Okay, but we are not getting any information on the console, right? To add that console, we can have that log4j, which is already available for us, right? So from there, we are going to get the log4j. Both I want to get it. One is like I want to get it in extent report, and other one is like I want to get it in some error we got because this report is null. So somewhere it is showing some exception. Let's see that what is that exception that we are getting. See error. Null pointer results. Login test base before. Yes, before test. Events type. Okay. So that's nothing, but it is showing some null here because this is not configured in that case. Okay. So what we can do is like here we can do one thing. So I want to make it as like wait, and from here, see how we are going to secure this now. public static get report. So here I'm going to put it.
Oh, so God.
Private void. I'm going to just name it as like report config. This report config, I'm going to call it here in the below method. Okay. So here I'm going to just check it. Okay. So if
No. Yeah.
report reports equals to, then what you can do is like you can just okay, return this. If it is null, return this. Otherwise, return. If it is null, what you can do is like you can return this. If it is not null, then you can report. You can return this particular. Okay. So here get report config. I'm going to the base class. Already we have this get report config, right? So it's going to do the configuration. Let's go and try to execute it again. So it's like all connecting, guys. Okay. So we have discussed individually. Now we are connecting everything. So now we are trying to put that extent report as part of like test engine. So what it is saying, so there is, there are test failures. Base null pointer cannot use that object equals. Okay, let's try to execute it from test.xml XML, and then we'll try to understand what is that exception. Okay, so it says like object equals object because extent report is null. Oh, okay. In this case, it is going and just checking this one. Okay. First, it is like we have to invoke it and then only we can do the configuration. But here it is like if it is null, to put in this reverse order. In this case, also what it does is like if it is not null, it will go and try to return this one. Okay, so it will come here and it will create it. But if it is null, then it's going to return this report. Not null, it is going to return this. Okay, but it is not, if it's like not null, it's going to this is equals to not null, right? So report we did not specify it was like null here. Yeah, if it is null, then it has to go and report this. If it is not null, then it has to go and report this one. Okay, let's go and try to execute this now. Again, it is throwing exception, right? So 1 second, null pointer.
Lisa.
So did we see this exception? We have this exception, right? Let's check where is that exception. Just wait. First we have to put it now. Report config. So it will see that if it is not, it will it's going to return. Okay, let me put everything as is, and we can see that I just want to have these things. This fashion, let me just go ahead and first configure the report itself, and then get will be giving it as like public. It configure report, I'll release it again. So let's put as is, and then we can change based on the configuration. First, it should come and get this particular thing like whatever we have defined here. So like reports, it should initialize the report. Then after it will initialize this particular report. Then after, let me just refresh this, and we got the report. Now I'll go and try to run the test change XML file. Really simple thing is only what I've done is like this. I made a mistake there. I just pointed it as to the null. Okay. Now you see it started working again. Okay. Before suite, it should start initializing that. Give me a second, guys. I'll just change the network actually. That would be the problem actually. I can see it is putting admin and admin 123. It will close the browser. Okay. So now, okay, after this execution, we'll see that it will be faster because it is like I'm just using my mobile data for connecting this. I'll just switch on to the Wi-Fi so that it will be faster. Okay, now you see that there are no failures at all. Okay. It has entered this, but here. Let's go and see why this is like throwing the exception. Test 1 it did not take, but test 2 it has taken. The reason behind this is like, I think this, whatever we are trying to use this extend report, it is taking only for the one iteration. Okay, before suite, you can see we have configured it. And for the next time, when we are trying to create the test for the second one, it is throwing the exception because we are closing that process, and but we are not closing the test here. After test, we are flushing it. Okay, so maybe the reason is like for every test, it should create a new test that it is creating, but after that, it's like flushing it out. Okay, let me just do one thing. So for after all the reports are after all the execution is done, then I want to flush it. Okay, so in this case, I'll just add it here. After suite, I want to flush it. Okay, so before test, we are not doing anything. Just before test that I'm just configuring, but after suite that I'll be just flushing out these reports. Okay, so let's go and try to execute it now. So what is that flush is like, guys? After completing that, writing all the report, we have to flush it. But after test, it is flushing. But again, before test, it is not. Again, it's like it has to create that report. But the thing is like it is creating the test. But here what is happening now? We are already closing that report. So there is no point of going back and writing to that report, right? So that is the reason why it is showing the null pointer exception. Let's go and execute this again. Test execution is working fine. And the only thing is like, only it is issue with the extend report. Okay, so not the issue with the execution. Now you see, oh, here also we got that. I'll check it, guys. The thing is like it should not close it actually. If we are running it for only one test, it will print everything. Now you see if I just go here to the XML file and if I try to run it for one test, so it is working fine. Okay, let me just check for the second test. So it should be a small issue. So you not to worry because it is only throwing the null pointer exception, not other than that. Okay. So let me this test here. Here also I'm going to remove it. So just I'm commenting this test. Okay. The rest of the things should work fine. Yeah. Commenting only one test. Second test I'm commenting. Okay. Let me just go and execute this one. So here also it should take it. Before annotations or after annotations that we are using, right? So there we are making some, I'm making some mistake there. The only thing is like configuration issue, not the execution issue. Execution is like it is happening there. You can see that it is bringing data from that data provider and it is trying to execute. Oh, you got it right. So there are two tests which have been executed. Like 2 rounds of execution in the single test. Now we'll go and try to refresh it. And with Chrome.html. Now you see that one test, browser launched, entered URL, entered username, password. Again, it's closed it here. So browser close. I'll write one more tag here. Like once it is closing, right? So there I want to add these things in base class. I'll go after method. We are closing it, right? So here we are going to say that test dot. After pitting, I want to just have one more information, which is like login here. Let's say that pass. They're closed. So you go and execute this. It is open. After method, before method, now it has executed. So before method, after method, now it is like before method, after. So one, like we have data provider, they have given 2 sets of data, right? So that is the reason why it is picking up 2 sets of data. I can see a clear information will be given in the report. Okay, after execution, here you can see it is successfully completed. We go here and try to refresh this and run open with Chrome HTML. I can see browser launched, entered URL, and after that username password, browser closed. Okay, after this is closing. So this is fine, but the thing is like if in case like okay, let's look into the second one is the thing that we have looked at, right? So I mean, first case is like it's working fine. In second case, if it is failing, let me add like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this it will enter, but the thing is like I want to have something which is reported as part of like I'll just go here and I'll just change it as like now it's like okay. So let me add one small thing here. I'm going to add the assertion. Okay. So assert equals, if that data entered, then only I want to pass it. Data entered, like, password. It is admin 123. Then only you have to pass it. Otherwise, it has to throw the exception. Okay. So here, in the first set, I am just putting it as like 1, 2, 3. In second set, I am putting it as like 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now we'll go and execute this. Now we'll go and see what is the exceptions that we are going to get. I'm like, what is that report that we are going to get? How it is going to show you. So it is like failing. Now you can see that failure report. Okay. So now I want to see that failure recorded. Okay. So let me just refresh it. Go here and try to generate with HTML. Close. Okay. I think that it has entered, but here it is like it is not showing up there. Okay. So what we have done is like only assertion that we are checking, but we are not trying to capture anything here, right? So log in. After that, it closed it. Okay. After that, it should go and try to, if it is like equals this one, then it has to execute, but it is throwing the exception, right? So exception is not caught anywhere. Okay. Not caught anywhere. So for that, I want to just add some try catch log. Assertions we are using, it's throwing exception, but that exception is not caught anywhere. I'll take 5 minutes more, guys, and we are done. I'll stop it here. And tomorrow we'll be discussing about like multiple execution. How does it exactly execute in terms of like multiple tests? See, there is like one failure. It is showing. Let's go and try to see the report. Click open with. Oh, that is not captured here. Let me just check. Here it is showing pass, but it should be a failure case. Okay. So because we have used that assert equals, and if that content is equals, then only I want to take it. I'll check this one, guys. So need not worry about this because here we are trying to take this assert equals. Okay. So if it is password 1, 2, 3, whatever password that we are getting, so if it is not matching, then it has to go to this exception. It has to throw this exception. But here we'll see that what is that it is saying. It's like, yeah, it is failing. Assertion is failing. You can see this. Okay. But it should be reported. It should be reported when we are trying to execute this particular case. So it is like it is throwing the exception and the exception is caught. And after that, it is passing the test. Okay. So, but we should fail the test case. In that case, if it is this particular login is not working and it's throwing any set of exception, that should be recorded here. Okay, so it should record, and if the status is like failure, then it has to report the status. Okay, failure status. I think it is first, it is going and it's checking for this success. If it's not success, then it's going here and it's trying to, like, after. Oh, sorry, before method I've written all this case, guys. Okay, so let's change it one. I'm sorry for this. I have to write this one in the after method. Okay, so I'll just change this one. So this is what my mistake actually. I got it. Okay, so I have to put it under this after method. So before method we are doing. Nobody has just realized that. I'm sorry for that. At best. Now you should be able to see this one. So after this, finally, everything is working fine. Then I'm going to just close it. Okay. So after method, I'll just remove this after method. After test also we can flush it, but okay, let's see this one. Okay. So you just I just realized it at the end, but now you see that before method we are just opening the browser, and after method we are just checking what is the status of that particular test. Okay, if it is success, then it will do this one. If it is failure, it should record this one. Okay, now for sure it should record everything. Okay, for sure it should record everything. Let me go and try to execute it here. So only the thing is, like, I got confused with the after and before method. So the thing is, guys, if you need to practice it. Okay, so you need to practice. If you don't practice, you cannot catch all these things. So this is very important. We need to understand how this annotation should work. Okay. Okay, one is success, another one is like, it should be failure here because we are throwing that exception, right? Exception should be caught, or else if exception is not there, then it should go to this and we'll see that what is that file. Okay, we have just given the trace, right? So now it is like failing. Now you see it is failing at this stage and it is showing this one. So console also did not write anything in the console. Let me just go here and try to refresh this report and open this report now. So now we got the failure. Login one is skipped. But here you can see assertion failed. Okay, test one assertion failed. So browser launched, entered, and login test passed. Login test skipped. There is something I think with logic with the here I just missed it. One is like I need to adjust this one. Okay, so it is like, okay, here we have like I just copy pasted, right? So that is the reason why it is showing this one. So let me just take the results dot get status is equals to itest results dot skip. If it is skipped, then it will show this. Okay, so here I have to put this one. Here we have success. Okay. Next test injection. Okay. So we'll try to see the report again. I'll just try to remove the things, guys, which are additionally that we have created as classes for testing, and I'm going to use this framework for rest of the executions. We'll add few more test cases and we'll try to add rest of the test cases. Now it will enter admin 1, 2, 3, and second time it enter admin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in that case, assertion will fail, and after test, it will go to the after test and it will check for those conditions. If it is failure, it's going to give the complete trace of it. Okay, I mean why that exception is happening. I just had it in before test, so that is a mistake I made. But here now you can see when I just try to refresh this. Now you can go and see this one. Open with. Open with. Now you can see it is browser launched, entered username, login test passed, it's showing, and after that browser closed. Now browser launched, entered. Now it is like failing. It is showing why this is failed here. Okay. So under this test, you can go and see what is that failure that it will show here. Okay. So it is not yet. It will take some time. Now you see it is failing. One test failed. And why the test is failed here, you can see the exception. It is throwing this exception. Okay, so I'll stop it here, guys. So this is like lengthiest class I can guess it, because the thing is like we have created all these things from the scratch. So how do we add this base classes and how do we add the extend reports? And we had some issues with that, and I'm sure that you'll also face this kind of issues during this, designing or looking into this things. First, I would suggest you to just create an extend report here. So this is the extend report class, and add the test here. So basic thing is like you can go and add the test like test.create test. Okay, so extend test. Okay, how do we create it? Just we go here and we have to add like test is equals to reporter reports dot create test. Okay, so now we can add here some set of information, whatever you want to add, like whichever test you want to create, you can create it as like test name here, and after that you can add the information. So giving like test queue something. So here after that you have to add test.log, logging the information. Okay, so it can be info, it can be anything. So as we looked into the statuses, right? So here you can see we have different set of statuses. Okay, log events. So these are the events that we want. So here I'm using if info and as well as like pass also. In this way we can use them. So everything is like documented here, guys. You can just go ahead and check this documentation. So in screenshot, we'll try to capture the screenshot. This is also kind of like small piece of code that we have to add. So I'll add it. Like tomorrow we can discuss on this. Okay. So this like I just want to show you like how we capture base 64 and normal screenshots. Okay. So we have two sets of data, two sets of method which will help you to add that screenshot. Okay. See, only the change that I made here in this case of base class is like this is the one thing is instead of adding it in after method, I've just added it in before method. Okay. So just make sure that you have to add this one in the after method. So here we can capture. See, once it is failed, right? So we can directly capture that screenshot also. So how do we capture? Test dot add screenshot of base64 string or add screenshot path. So this is like we have this methods. We can use this methods and we can capture the screenshots. Okay. So please practice this, guys. Go through this video. And at last you can see that I've just made some changes in the after method. Okay. So if you are following this video carefully, so do it in the beginning and you can skip this one, whatever change that we have made. And I'll come back to this case. So with you, like, I want to check why this is like, no, sorry, let me just this one. Why this is failing in this case of test engine. Let me just execute and see if it is passing, that is fine. Well and good. If it is not passing, then I'll fix it. Okay. So let me just go and execute this. Altogether, how many browsers should be opened? You have two test cases, data provided, two sets of data. Okay. So each test will have two iterations. Likewise, it has to open 4 times. So still we can go ahead and do the parallel execution also. but it is like now we'll only go with the sequence execution. Okay, test one iteration, and test one second iteration. Test two one iteration, and test two second iteration. It should take 4. But it's taking only one time. See, it is showing like test runs 4. Maybe this is the issue actually. Okay, so first test it is failing in this case. Okay, and it's not picking up. Here it has taken second test. Now you see this. Okay. So let me go and see that report. At least it should generate a report, but report should be generated for mandatory. We did not make any changes in the report. I can see it is showing browser launched and everything is done here. So this is executing fine. And here it is failing. But here it is running set test 2. Test 1 is skipped. That I will check it. Okay. So this is all about for today class, guys. So we have covered like extent reports along with the test engine. How do we implement that extent report in the test engine? Okay. Okay, guys, please practice. Thanks for your time, and just look into this things as like priority, and please work on this. Okay. If you have any doubts, please ping me and ask me. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thanks for your time, guys. Yeah, thank you.